Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Blue Tinted Glasses YouTube channel. Today, I had planned a debate. Hopefully, the debate is still going to be happening. I hope that isn't cancelled. I think somebody is just trying to connect in. Just as Danny Talks Sports says here, cheers to you, Danny, mate, for always being here. Smash a like and subscribe, of course, on the video. That would be very, very, very much appreciated. Let me just see if there is an update. Let's have a look. There we go. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know in the chat, of course, what your score predictions are. Even if the debate doesn't go ahead, I still want to obviously have a chat and stuff about the game that's coming up today in just 4 hours' time. LCFC fan is here. Sutloxy, sup to you, mate. Hope you're doing well, pal. Hope you're doing well. Connection issues apparently with the gentleman who was going to join me, so hopefully he can still join us. But I wasn't going to delay the stream. Are you making me mod? Yeah, I completely forgot, mate. Let me actually do it right now while we are live. That would be handy, wouldn't it? It's not very hard to do. Community. Let's add you in. Sorry, I completely forgot yesterday, mate. LCFC _ fan 15. There you are, mate. I've just made you a mod, so maybe you might need to refresh. I don't know how it works. But yeah, get your comments in, more importantly. Everyone get their comments in. Let me know what you're thinking ahead of the game today against Arsenal. It's a big game. It's going to be a tough game. Of course it is. It's going to be very, very tough. Danny says, morning locks, hope you're well. Going Leicester 1-0, sneaky win. Can you imagine if that happens? Can you imagine? Dawn is a member. Dawn, the member of the channel. Thank you so much, as always, Dawn. Good morning to you too. I was going to say it's not morning. It is. There is still an hour left of the morning. If you do want to become a member, anybody in the chat, then just hit the join button under the video. Scarlett says, morning locks, hopefully a miracle and we get a draw. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Tripe and Onions, not looking forward to the game, to be honest. I agree. It's going to be tough. I'm doing the watch along, of course. Match day live from 2:45 all the way through till full time. Then there'll be a live redirect on the channel over to a nil for Fox Sake TV. Let's have a look. Yeah. Sorry, I was just replying to the person who's meant to be debating. No worries. I'm just happy to have. There we are. Well, you're a mod now, LCFC fan, mate. You're a mod. If you are here for the watch along for the match day live, mate, it's useful to have you around as a mod, because the problem with watch alongs and stuff like that is sometimes you get spammers, and it's at that point I think you can either mute them or you can put them in timeout, something like that. So yeah, that'll be very helpful if you can do that. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Russ Vernon, sports journalist, big love locks, keep it in. We'll see. Fearing the worst, Dawn says. Yeah, I am a little bit as well. Imagine if Gabriel gets an own goal. Can you imagine? You said that yesterday, didn't you? Let's put this one behind us and hope we stay injury free. Darren says, yeah, 100%, mate. I'll be here, locks. I'd be here, locks, but Leeds are playing. No, that's right, mate. You're too busy over on Just Joe Football Show. That's fine, mate. You're a Leeds fan, mate. I wouldn't expect you to be on a Leicester channel when Leeds are playing. 5-0 Arsenal, then Cooper on his way out. I'm guessing he was going to say, will you give Cooper any credit for draw, locks? Yes, Chris. I don't know why everyone thinks I'm such an unreasonable person. If Cooper gets a draw today, I will say fair play, mate. You've done a very, very good job there. 100%. I'm not going to say, oh, we should have won. I'm not expecting a win today. I was told I was unreasonable for saying that that I expected a win against Everton. And apparently I'm not allowed to expect wins in the Premier League because it's the Premier League. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, that mindset. I think that if we're in the Premier League, we should have to win games. We should aim to win games. But if we get a draw today, which is exceeding my expectations, even if he met my expectations, mate, who is it again? Sorry. Where's the comment gone? Chris, sorry. My expectation is like, a 2-0 loss. Like I'm not. I just don't want us to get thumped, which I don't think we will. I don't think we'll get thumped with Steve Cooper. I don't think we'll get thumped in any game under Steve Cooper. My worry is, Chris, is that my mindset is that if he can meet my expectations, which are just, lose but don't get battered, or if he can exceed them, maybe a point, a close game, whatever, then I'll be happy, mate. I'm not unreasonable. I'm not demanding he wins. I have a feeling if El Canous plays this match, we might have a chance to win this because El Canous plays better in big games. CR7 Edits, I think, is a Moroccan fan. Correct me if I'm wrong, mate. I do believe you're Moroccan. Maybe you're not. I think you are, if my memory serves me correctly. So he wants to see Bilal El Canous start. That would be nice. Didn't have a great game against Everton, but he needs to put it right. If I'm around, of course, I will be watching the game, so I might miss a couple under the pressure. No, don't. Honestly, mate, don't worry. To be fair, my chat is always respectful. My chat normally is, so far in the last month I've been doing live streams, everyone's well behaved, so I don't think that you will need to do much, mate. I think it's just chilling. So Ross says Arsenal 6-0, I'm afraid. Sorry, bud, and I'm a Leeds fan. Yeah, I think you're going to get battered by Cov. Is it Cov you play? I don't know if it is Coventry you play. Let's have a look. Coventry Leeds. Yeah, it is Coventry. There we go. Ross makes sense. Why would you think that maybe you should focus on getting first in the championship first? 5-1 Arsenal, unfortunately. And that's a Leicester fan, I think, talking there. Danny said you should go to every game wanting to win 100%, mate. But apparently that is harsh, wanting to win. Yes, I'm Moroccan. See, I've got a great memory, mate. I've got a great memory. Imagine if Leicester win, it would be mental, wouldn't it? It would be mental. Cooper out. That's it. Winks is on periods. I don't know what you're alluding to there, mate. I don't want to ask. Georgie's here. Today's a perfect game for Cooper's stinky football. Defend for your life and pray. Yeah, 100%. This is my worry, though, Chris. I think you're... I know Chris isn't really Cooper in. He agrees with me on a lot of things. But this is my worry here, right? Is that, we could well get a point today. And that's great, by the way. I'm not slagging that off. The problem, my worry is that then people will start accepting the negative football because, you can't play against Arsenal like you do against Everton. And that first half against Everton was so negative, it was a joke. We have to go at Everton and try and win the game from minute one. And again, apparently that is unfair on me to ask for that, which is a shame because I think that is more than fair. But yeah, my worry is that if we do get a point or something, which is again a good thing, that certain fans will start saying, see, Cooper's the man. And I don't think that's the case. I agree that Steve Cooper is a very, very, very good manager for games like today. I agree with it wholeheartedly. If we were against Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United every single week, I would say Steve Cooper's the man to have in charge of this football club. But we don't. We play the Big Six 12 times. Yeah. 12 games is against the Big Six this season, and the other 24 is against the non-Big Six, the other 14. So yeah, I think the maths are right there. The other 12, Fan TV. Why, Georgie? Question, mate. Why do you always say that on every channel I see you on? You're always saying Fan TV or Danny Fan TV or Joe Fan TV. The Silver Fox has 80% Arsenal possession today. It's going to be a long watch. It is. It's not going to be a fun watch, but if we get a point, it's a good result. As soon as we play Bournemouth and the Saint, all the negativity will inevitably return if he doesn't perform to the same standards. By the way, guys, I am under the impression that the guy I'm meant to be chatting with about Steve Cooper is genuinely trying to come on. He's not avoiding me, which I did worry about. But no, he's not avoiding me. He is trying to get on. He's just having problems with StreamYard because he uses Google Safari, and you can't use StreamYard on Safari. He's actually just clicked in, so we'll get him on it very, very shortly. LCFC Isaac says, I agree that will go negative today, and it may work out, but not for any teams bottom half of the table. Yeah, we'll talk about it more later, of course. I agree that Steve Cooper's a great manager to have in charge of a game against the likes of Arsenal and Man City. The way he sets the team up as well is it suits them teams. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a point today, to be honest. Just 1 out of 3 of games. The Silver Fox Fan TV, 100%, mate. And then England number 4. We'll end on this one. I mean, have you seen Winks this season? That's what I mean, but that's fine. On a serious note, the best I expect is a small loss or a draw. And I think that's fair. I'm not sat here saying we need to win. I'm not, I did that against Everton. I'm not doing it for Arsenal. I'm not that unreasonable. Right. So we have Graham. He has just clicked in. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's get him on. Hello, Graham. How you doing, mate?
Aye, Savaloy. I'm okay.
Good. It's nice to get you on. I know we've been in back and forth before on Twitter and X, and it's good to actually now get on a video and actually chat about it. So the premise of this video is, I say a debate, but it's about Steve Cooper. We have very opposing views to Steve Cooper, as do many Leicester fans. Before we properly get into it, I wanted to just ask you what were your expectations at the start of the season, before the season started?
Well, they changed quite dramatically. Firstly was our cowardly, nasty manager buggering off, and I am allowed to swear, aren't I, on your podcast?
Yeah.
Buggering off, and then taking more important than that, taking a very key player. Whether he's good enough for the Premiership, it wasn't last time, but he's been getting better. But he was our key number 10. You could have taken loads of other players, but that one really did stuff us up. And according to my Chelsea mates, he's not really shown anything yet there. But power to his elbow, make his career, whatever. So once that shyster had decided to leave us, it left the club in an awful position. Short period of time. Oh, let's get a new manager in. So what's the plan? Well, we could have a massive points deduction. We've got a bang average squad, not quite necessarily good enough for the Premier League. So let's shop at Harrods for a manager. Listen, mate, we're in Aldi, and you get some good bargains in Aldi. Steve Potter's not going to come to Leicester. He's still £6 million a year, well in with Chelsea, and is more likely to get the England job. So who do we get? We get a pragmatic manager who kept a team in the Premier League. His biggest failing, as far as everybody is concerned, is as Nottingham Forest manager, and he looks like the sloth out of Ice Age. The man doesn't stand a chance. Everybody knows he's a good coach. He's actually made Ndidi play at number 10 and has looked the part, whereas he looked like Bambi on ice when he was in midfield. So I have one expectation this season, is that we do give it the best job at staying up. That's my only expectation, and I want a manager to do that. Fans running onto the pitch and yelling at him 5 games in, it's just ridiculous. This guy, that poor guy that ran onto the pitch, although I have zero sympathy, will not be able to watch a football match. But who egged him on and got him into the mindset that we aren't doing badly, but we're not doing great? We're in a game. We've put 10 players in. The whole team has swapped over. Yet and some of these guys only met each other 2 weeks ago. I bet they can't even bloody remember each other's names. And we expect a match-winning performance against a team that are, second division, but there's still only 11 of them. They're won the last 6 games. The manager's confident, and guess what? It's their cup final. So to get through the game with a clean sheet, win on penalties, that's all that mattered. So I do feel there's a level of hysteria generated. But this isn't, one last bit, this isn't the first time I've seen this. I remember when Martin O'Neill came to this club, 13 games in, Sheffield United, crowd are booing. He's keeping all the letters that everybody wrote to him, telling him how rubbish it was. And as soon as we started playing well, he rung them up, because he's that sort of guy. So I can't see it. I didn't want him as a manager, but now I've got him. We'll sit there and see what happens.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that you make no valid points, because you do. You make valid points, right? And of course, I hear what you're saying with regards to it's not been a terrible start and it's not been a great start. And I assume what you mean by that is obviously the results. We're 16th, 15th, something like that.
Yeah, well, until today, we'll drop from 15th today unless there's a minor miracle in this planet.
Yeah. And I know what you said about, that we're shopping in Aldi, but do you not think that there were better options in Aldi than Steve Cooper? And I mean, my idea, or my ideal choice in the summer, and still now, to be honest with you, was Carlos Corberán. Now, I know you might come from the point of view that, well, he's never managed in the Premier League and he's in the Championship. Am I right in saying that? Is that kind of how you'd see that, or?
Excuse me a second.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Who are back again? Yeah, no. My point on that one is why would he leave West Bromwich Albion when he's top of the league? Team's playing well. With it go to a team like Leicester, that he might actually be waving to his old team as they go past us on the way out.
Yeah, so I mean, in the summer, when we were actually looking for a manager, because we get the impression that it was because of a £4 million compensation, and if that is true, if that is why they never went for him, that gives some fans the impression that they've just gone for the cheap option, and even though they spent 8 million on Jordan Ayew, which I'm not slagging Ayew off, but I'm saying they did spend 8 million on him. Why
he had a
couldn't they?
really good shot in the last game of the Premiership that was just sailed over the bar.
Yeah.
Poor chap. Look, whatever anybody might say, and I like saying this guy's name, Rudkin. Look at who he got in. He got Enzo in. Yeah. Look who he's got in. Other managers. Look at the recruitment team's buying policy. Again, we're shopping in Aldi. We're not getting any Carlos whatever's coming to us. We're going to get journeyman football. Those that can't get a game in the Premier League, or we're getting other players. We go, we found this guy. He might be the next Riyad Mahrez. So I can't get that emotionally upset about the choice in manager. I don't want him. Or I didn't want him, let's put it that way. But he is the manager of the team. And so far, there aren't major issues. We haven't got an identity. We've only played 5 games. Half these players don't know each other. We've not been slaughtered. We've not conceded, lost by more than 1 goal. Nobody thought we'd score this season. So I think there's a load of factors. If he's not good enough, I just don't understand. I just don't get it that there would have been an interview process for all these managers. And the other thing is that everybody's going on about, well, they wouldn't come because of the points deduction. When they would have come for their interview, they would have signed an NDA in which, again, whoever was the bloke going, this points deduction, we did a clever job. We moved the end of the year accounts. They haven't, Premier League haven't got to stand on. So don't worry about that. But you're going to get a mediocre team when I say mediocre Premier team with a load of players that don't know each other, that is going to struggle to stay in this Premier League, and you are going to put your reputation on the line. You're going to get a big salary. They play really well, but there we go. And again, after 5 games, if we get rid of him, can you see a queue of people coming in to take his job?
Well, that's the next debate. I mean, we don't need to talk about it now. But one argument that is thrown at me and other people is that, well, who else is there? Who else is there out there that could replace him? And I agree. I hear what you're saying, or I hear what people say when they say that. I mean, one name that is thrown into the mix quite a lot, and I've seen thrown around, is David Moyes. What do you make to that one? Would you not like that? Do you think that Steve Cooper is a better
David Moyes is a great manager, but I reckon he's thinking, well, Everton have built a new ground, everything's going to go wrong, get a new job, he might go back there. Yeah. I think that we have there is opinion that Leicester's a wonderful club and everyone wants to be there. Martin O'Neill used to walk, when they built the new main stand, would walk players in backwards. Can you imagine bloke comes off the M1 with his wife and they drive up Narborough Road? By the time they got to the club, she's telling him that I don't want to be there. We have delusions, as what's his name, Nigel said, of grandeur. We are a middling team. As you can see, grey hair. I'm an old git. And we have been a yo-yo team. It all went wrong. We know why it went wrong. We've now got to rebuild. We've got every team has an expiry date. Martin O'Neill's team had an expiry date. The one that is 10 years since we won the Premier League. And as I say, what I feel is that I don't know at this point, the angst, the anger, people running on pitches, the booing, the shouting is helping anybody. It's not going to get him out of a job. But if I was a player or whatever, I wouldn't want to, we are where we are, Yeah,
that is the one thing. Yeah, the one thing I'd say to you there is that I actually agree, and I admitted it on a video yesterday. I said that I know that this slagging off of Cooper doesn't help anyone because, despite what some people think, the people inside the club do see it. Not me, but I mean, comments on Twitter and Facebook and all of this, they do see it, whether it's the players, whether it's just the staff, whoever. And I agree, it doesn't help. But what I would say to that is that fans that aren't happy are well within their right, surely, to say they're not happy with things, because we're all the first to praise Enzo Maresca, Brendan Rodgers, maybe Steve Cooper if he won today. We'll praise them. But when things aren't going so good and when fans aren't happy with what they're seeing on the pitch, surely they are also then within their right to. And I'm not talking abuse. I'm not saying people, because there's people calling him ugly and all of this, and that's irrelevant. It's about the football. I think fans are entitled to actually say, you know what, that performance was shocking, and the manager's decisions, whether it was substitutions, was equally as bad. Surely that fans can say that.
Absolutely. But, in the past, you've had that conversation in the pub with your mates.
Yeah.
And now we have a broadcast media where you can sit there, and the same as Owen Palmer Atkinson with the BBC, you can have your same voice on a podcast, and it gets to so many more people. And to be frank, I'm a season ticket holder. I speak to other season ticket holders. I speak to Nottingham Forest season ticket holders, and there is you're not in the majority, yeah, and you get groups of people booing and shouting. Most people are going, oh, well, I'll be the first to tell you. I would tell you when I've lost faith in the manager, and I respect you. But there were people saying he should have been sacked pre-season. There are people saying after that are running on the pitch. Do you think that telling him sort it out? Well, actually, he did sort it out. We won on penalties. We didn't concede a goal, and we're through to get stuffed by Man United next game. It's the way of the world. I think everybody has always felt like people that broadcast and people that go on Twitter and people that go on that have always felt like that. But the voice, because it's broadcast, becomes much, much louder. I used to, Leicester lose today, no matter, even though I expect it, I will not be a happy bunny, and it'll ruin the rest of my weekend. And when I was your age, it would have made more than ruin my weekend. I'd have been throwing the dog around and kicking the cat and whatever. But tell me, so let's ask you a question. What's he done wrong so far?
I would say the kind of exclusion of Ricardo Pereira, and I know that's something we disagree on. We'll talk about that more. How at the start of the season or before the season started, he said that he watched every game from last season, and yet he starts the season without Steffi Mavididi and Ricardo Pereira in the team, which I think is criminal because they were two of the best. I'm not saying they were the best, but they were two of the better players last season. They were very consistent. I know, obviously, one of your views is Ricardo's age, and that might be catching up with him, and we will discuss that. But other than that, I think he came out in certain games. I think it was the Tottenham game and the Fulham game, and he said, I got this wrong and I got that wrong, and people rightly praised him for being honest. But then I also feel like more recently he has failed to acknowledge some mistakes he's made. And the one I'm talking about in particular is after the Everton game, where towards the end of the game, he brought Abdul Fattahu on and he took off Steffi Mavididi, who was probably our best player in the game. And he took him off. And after the game, he said he wouldn't do it. He said he'd do the same thing again and that Mavididi had run his race. And I think that's really ignorant to say because we didn't win. We didn't score. He wanted us to win. That was why he made the Fattahu change. He wanted to get a goal. So how can you say you wouldn't do this? You would do the same thing again. Surely you wouldn't to try and get the goal. So I just feel like he did start the season very honest and it was refreshing. Of course, it was compared to Enzo and Rodgers. But more recently, and maybe it is the pressure. I'm not saying he's feeling too much pressure from the fans, but he's definitely getting a little bit of it. Maybe he is starting to, I don't know, get a little bit ignorant. Because, let me get your view on that.
That's a big word. That's a big word to talk about, to call anybody ignorant.
Well, what are your thoughts on that one in particular, the Mavididi substitution against Everton?
Do you know what the medical department were telling him on that scorecard? Is he in the red zone? Does he need to come off? Has he? Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't know.
You know that information, so you don't know that. I'm more concerned about in that game for the first 15 to 20 minutes when the sun didn't shine. Everton did a high press on us, and we had no answer to it. The other hour of that game doesn't count because it just rained and rained and rained, and stair rods, rain like you've never seen. So 2 days worth of rain in one day. Then the last 15 minutes or so, there was only going to be one winner, and that was us. And if the game had gone another 5 or 6 minutes, we'd have won. We were all over them like. But you take a winger, bring another winger on. What's you were telling me before that Fatou was like the best player last season and he's not played, but he brings him on. So what's the man to do?
I'm referring. So why can't you have both of them on? And I
because
think
the system dictates the way we're playing. It was a bit like under Rodgers and that. We play one winger. We're not playing a system where you can play two wingers at the moment where we will get overrun. So he has to choose one or the other because he wants to play somebody in behind behind Vardy or whoever's up front. Awu is his choice at the moment to do more than just a winger's role. Somebody turned around and said about, I was a defensive winger. Have you ever heard the expression defensive winger? I've never heard that in 50 odd years of going to football. There are wingers, they're not defensive wingers. And that brings us back to the system. I'm not happy how JJ's playing on the right. Every goal we concede, there is this massive gap. Now, to your Pereira point, bring Pereira on, fine. Yeah, like you say, Vardy is older than him, but has played less football. People forget the Pereira mistakes, the penalties he gives away, the ball he lives in midfield. It's not a straight choice, and we all make all these decisions. Pereira is becoming the canon of the saviour of the club, the best striker. We should always play him because he's really good. And then he goes to Sheffield United, and we realise he was pants. So with Pereira, I think Pereira will play a part in this season, but we don't see a week's worth of training. We don't see what goes on. We don't see the guy play. And when he did play in the Everton game, the Walsall game, he wasn't that good. But then again, there were 10 other people that were bang average. So I think.
Sorry, I just want to go back to one point. I'll come back to you, don't worry. But I want to come back to one point you said about the system, how the system doesn't allow the Mavididi and Fatawu maybe together. And I would understand that point, with regards to the starting lineup. But surely one big criticism of Enzo Maresca and one big plus, or to bring in Steve Cooper was that maybe he had a plan B or he's pragmatic. Surely you can then make a change if you are chasing the game. Or it was 1-1, but if you're chasing a goal, if you're trying to get a goal, surely you have to change it up a little bit, like we were told Steve Cooper was good at. And you would bring Fatawu on for Ayew rather than Mavididi, and then you have got two exciting direct wingers on the pitch at the same time.
Well, maybe haven't spake it loudly, but maybe you made a mistake. I know people don't make mistakes, but maybe he made a mistake, or maybe, as I said, Ayew was maybe still in his mind cunning enough to get a goal, and the other guy, like you said, you're on his face. He's knackered. He can't afford to lose him. He was the best player on the park for the last 20 minutes. So he can't then go, I've got in the game, we're risking, what's it's getting tight, the glutes, whatever it is, hamstrings, whatever. We're making judgments on things we have no information that we're privy to. I'm not saying he's a brilliant manager. I'm not saying that he will get everything right. I don't even really have much feeling towards the bloke as the manager. All I'm interested in, at the moment, we're in 15th. We've not looked out of any game. We've scored when we didn't think we'd score. And I would just say, I'm old school as well. I don't judge any team until after 10 games. I used to love it when we were in the Premier League and we would play teams like Liverpool, Man United, Man City and Arsenal in the first 5 or 6 games of the season because they weren't set either. That was our best chance against teams because they either brought new players in, they weren't their best position. It's when you play them at Christmas and they've been playing for 6 months that we have problems. But none of this is, I'm just, I'm not being heavy. Heavy? Is that a word that the young generation use about all this?
No, I hear what you're saying. I know what you're saying, mate. And I suppose it comes down to, one of the biggest criticisms that fans like myself are getting is that some people accuse us of being 2016 fans. And when I say that, I don't even mean glory supporters. I mean more that they're just saying it's because we're young. We don't know how bad it has been before. That's one criticism that does get thrown. And I know many fans, I know many young fans that are very much Cooper in, and I know older fans who are also Cooper out. So it's
But
not
I don't think it's a
entirely that
question
way.
of being Cooper in or Cooper out. There is Cooper is the manager. So you got Cooper as the manager, or you got I want him out. You know, you get criticism. Look at me. I shouldn't be allowed to go to football matches anymore because I'm over 60 and I eat prawn sandwiches and I don't get emotionally involved. I had fans. I think it was either one of the charity shield going. Somebody saying to me, "Where were you?" A 16-year-old plus saying to me, "Where were you when we were shit?" Like I'm some plastic fan. So there is no. The danger, I think the issue as well is that there seem to be that some groups of fans, I'm not going to mention the TIFO organisation at all in this conversation, who think they're superior to everybody else.
I agree with you, by the way. I agree with that they do think they're superior.
Yeah. So I don't, I remember being your age. I remember it being vaguely, but it was everything to me. So I understand your passion about what you're saying and your feelings towards the club and the fact that you should have an opinion. I just don't actually agree with it at this moment in time. I might be right behind you. You might never want to talk to me again because you've got to get this loser out of the club. No. There is the other position as well that if you take the team, you've seen what our B team are like. They're shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we've got our A team who are bang average. That we might need a manager that can manage this team, and I know everybody says it's a criticism that we might have to go down and come back up again, because we did that most of my life of watching it, and somebody like Steve Cooper might be the person that could make that happen.
Well, one question for you then, because I know that you've said a few times about how the team is average, bang average for the Premier League and all of that. And maybe it's a champion. I don't know if it was you who said this, but maybe a championship squad with some Premier League players. I don't know if it was you who said that. It might have been someone else.
No, it wasn't somebody else, but no.
So my question is, do you think Steve Cooper is actually currently overperforming in 15th place with our squad, or do you think he's just about where we should be?
I think it's better than I expected. I don't know go about overperforming. I do think he's managed to get a tune out and Diddy, as he managed to move him around. I do like the pairing of the two Spurs boys in midfield, especially away from home. We have the best goalkeeper. I'd say, and if you want me to be controversial, he's better than Casper was because his distribution is better and he can catch a ball from across. But that's just my bet noir, Casper. But you look, we'll go to Bournemouth and we'll lose, or we'll go to Brentford and we'll lose, and we'll go to Brighton and these are Premier League teams that are established now. We cannot live on the memory of what we used to be. I look at the Premier League last season when we weren't in it. I wasn't going to watch it because half the games I'm thinking, whatever against whatever, or what was it? I'm like, really? That's not exactly what the Premier League used to be. But the world's changed.
Well, one question that I did really want to ask you is that Everton we didn't beat, of course. Now, coming up, we also have a game against Ipswich and Southampton in the next 5 games. We've got Ipswich and Southampton. So that would be, again, the other.
Is that a home and away? Or is that a home game and an away game?
I will have to just double check for you just to make sure. But they are the 2 teams that came up with us last season behind us. And so, again, one argument that is thrown at me is that the teams like Everton, Crystal Palace, Fulham, they are Premier League teams, and we weren't a Premier League team last season. But with Ipswich coming up, which is away, and Southampton, which is away, if we don't win either of them, would your stance change? Or do you still think with less than 10 games, it's still too early to say?
I would like from those 2 games, as now you mentioned they're both away, a minimum of 2 points. I'd love to beat them. And we actually probably stand a better chance of beating a team away. But, it's like saying, you can't win with draws. Listen, say we drew 11 games, we'd only need 5 wins above that to I remember a season where we did draw 11 games, mind you. But I think that my view on that is that there are, of the 3 teams that came up, it's sad to say that virtually every season 2 of those 3 teams go back down. And I just don't want us to be that one. So, hopefully we had a better squad than both of those teams. We can do it. But maybe they bought better in the summer. Maybe, who knows? But
do you think 2 points is enough against the 2 promoted teams? Because
away, you're talking of away. You're talking of away game. I said minimum is 2
yeah,
points.
I know. But my response to that would be, well, who are we going to beat? Who should we expect to beat? Because if we're only expecting to beat them 2 at home, that's 6 points, and that's not going to keep us in the division.
We should expect to beat every team, every game, and every player and everybody going should have that mentality. You asked me, what did I think 2 away wins? I think the chances of beating both teams away from home are not brilliant. We'd expect to win at home every game. I would love for us to say, I'd love to sit here and say, oh, we'll take 6 points. And that would be brilliant because we'd be well away. We have a mini league of 6 teams. At the moment, we're the top of that mini league of 6 teams. Let's see how we go. It might only matter that we got 2 points because we've beaten Arsenal this week. Who knows? Well, I just think that, I mean, trust me, I can't tell you how many games I've sat at Highbury and watched us lose 2-0 and then moved to the Emirates. And it was blah, blah, blah. Anyway, to your point, I would desire that we get 6 points. It would be the best we can do to get 6 points because we need to be as far away those people as possible. But on the other side, depends what the other results are.
Yeah, of course, it matters. It matters. The last thing I want to ask you, Graham, is
you know what? That's the worst thing in journalism. Yeah, that's the thing. Because what you do is you get the person to relax, and then you go and kick him in the nuts. Question. What you got to say?
It's not a bad question at all. I wanted to ask you, what is your cutoff? Because, and I know it's hard to say because you don't know where we'll be at that point. But these are the next few games, I'll say. So we've got Arsenal away, Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Forest at home, Ipswich away, United away, and Chelsea at home. There are still some very tough games thrown in there. And, even if we take, by the time we play these tougher games, we could be on 15 games played by the time we have another easier run. My worry is, surely we have to act before any other club does. Because you mentioned it yourself with David Moyes. Everton could sack Dyche tomorrow if they lose today or whenever they play, and they could bring Moyes in. And then we've missed a potential manager. That surely that has to be a worry because the longer you go on, the more teams that sack the managers, the smaller the manager pool gets.
Yeah, I agree with that. But do you not think our board know that and have got a plan B and have got people lined up? And don't you think they will say, there are 2 equations to this. Is one of the managers not good enough, or the manager's good enough, but the players aren't good enough. And in that situation, you always sack the manager because you're hoping for a dead cat bounce. And, it was the same when we got relegated. That was, for whatever we might think, that wasn't on Rodgers. We had a load of big-time Charlies who didn't think for 1 minute they'd get relegated. And if we did get relegated, some club would come in and buy them up. So, how do you motivate a group of players like that? Players that have been 5th the season before, 4th the season before that. So, to your point about this manager, I expect the board to have a position in place. It wasn't like he's on I don't know this answer to this question. I don't know whether, unlike Enzo and unlike Rodgers, he was allowed to bring a big team of his own people in, so that if you got rid of him, that you'd have to get rid of six people, and not so much because what it would cost was what the disturbance to the club that might be. And so the board, I think there is a balanced decision of manager not good enough, or are we not good enough? And if we're not good enough, then hopefully in January they'll put we'll go to the panic buy market and bring someone in. But I'm really hoping. Let's be positive. I'm really hoping that some of these players settle in and deliver the job for us. And I would say, if we're not welded to the minute we're welded to the bottom, if we get to Christmas and we're welded to the bottom, we've had our moment before, but we're only going to bring a guy in that's going to maybe make it or be the one that we want next season.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
No, that's a fair point as well. That's a fair point, absolutely. Let's end on this. I know we both said that we don't demand a win. I've said myself, I don't demand a win today, and I would actually be happy, if I'm brutally honest, with maybe like just a close loss. To be fair, don't embarrass yourselves and don't ruin confidence, I suppose. But if I had to ask you, if I had to put you on the spot, score prediction for the Arsenal game.
As soon as you said it, there's a figure came into my head. I mean, the figure was 1-1, which would, there is a moment. I mean, they parked the bus against the Man City. Well, not one bus, two buses against Man City. Therefore, the issue is that they might just treat us lightly. They might go, It depends how he sets up. To your point, if we're probably likely to lose. But what I don't want to do is I don't want a 4-0 stuffing. Not because of the embarrassment or whatever, is that goal difference is vital to us for the rest of the season. So to lose it in one afternoon wouldn't not be good. But listen, being a Leicester fan is a roller coaster. And it makes it enjoyable. I heard another old git on the, saying that you wouldn't swap the last 30 years. Could you imagine being a team of Premier League mediocrity that is never good enough to win anything but won't go down? Boring
Crystal
as
Palace.
hell. Crystal Palace, yeah. Oh God, Crystal Palace. The worst ground to get to at least. And well, anyway, let's wish the boys good luck. It's lovely speaking to you. The opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. So, just keep doing what you're doing.
I was going to say, and as well, I do hope to get you back on in the future as well. Maybe let's give it 3 or 4 games, and then we can chat again and see if either of our views have changed. That would be good. I appreciate.
Turkey, by the way, you're going to Turkey tomorrow, are you? Turkey,
I am. Yes, not for hair or teeth, because I've
or bumness. You see so many people with bandages around their heads at the airports. Anyway,
100%. I appreciate you coming on, Graham. Thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon. All right. Cheers, Graham. Thanks to Graham for coming on. Again, we've disagreed many times on Twitter, but this is what it's all about. We've just had a chat, and although we still disagree on some things, it's good to have a respectful chat as well. And like I said, we'll speak again. That's not the end of it. I'm never going to speak to him again. We will speak in a couple of weeks or 3-4 weeks, something like that. Hopefully, once a few games have gone by. Thank you to everyone who's got their comments in. I know I didn't bring too much up there, so apologies for that, but I'll bring some up now. Henry says we must stay up. The Silver Fox says, when you are in a fight for survival, does it matter where you play? No, you go for a win. I think the players are not looking too happy, Dawn says. Armchair Jockey says the situation has Allardyce written all over it. Chip says all the hope after no point deduction just for Cooper to ruin it all. We'll see. The final whistle says morning Graham and Locks. LCFC fan says lovely bloke but don't agree with his views at all. That's fine, that's how football works. Good chat, love the different views. And Andrea says thanks, Locks. Just a reminder, everybody, at 2:45, so not long away now, the match day live will start on the channel. So we'll be live from 2:45 covering the whole game. So make sure you join us for that one. Thanks again to Graham for joining me. We'll see him again on the channel soon. And thanks to everyone who's been watching. Remember, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in a couple hours. Cheers all.